Hey everyone, this is Brad and Doug from the Dark Sliders podcast.
Hey,
So this week we're going to do something a little bit different. We both recently played Batman Arkham Knight, which is a really cool game and has a lot of different spoilery type stuff.
hmm
So everything we're going to talk about in here is huge spoilers. So if you haven't played Batman Arkham Knight, I would highly recommend that you don't listen to this because we're basically going to walk through the whole game and tell you every single thing that happens and why that is either really cool or really irritating depending on the thing.
yeah, basically, I done that review for the podcast, and I realized like all the things that were like made me really excited for this game and really not like this game were all completely spoiler related and something I couldn't talk about during the review. So yeah, this is just going to be us just completely talking about just the spoilery aspects of Arkham Knight. Um, so yeah, all right, let's do
So
this.
last chance, right now, last chance. Turn it off and come back after you finish it because we're
Yep.
going to start talking about spoilers.
Yeah,
So at
yeah.
the end of the game, this no. Anyway, we're going to start with so this game has a ton of side missions, so we'll start talking about those. Um I know you really like these. I don't normally get super into side missions. There
Mhm.
was one or two that I was really curious about, but for the most part I wasn't. The one I spent the most time with was there's these murders that are happening around Gotham, and every one of these murders is accompanied by opera music, and you just find these bodies laying around. And you have to investigate and find these things that are going on with them, and there's really not a lot of payoff for it until the very end. But I know you were really into this one. What made you so into it?
Well, I was into it because I thought it had the best finale, I think, of all the side mission stuff I played. I thought when I first did the body thing, I thought it was really cool because you're sort of doing those like different layers of skin to try to figure out the
Yeah,
how they die. Not that they die, they have deformities or something like that. I thought it was really neat, but it's super repetitive. Like if you do the like literally the exact same thing 6 times, and it's not great. But the thing I really liked about it, so I guess the spoiler aspect of this, they reveal it's Professor Pig, who was a character I didn't even know about.
yeah, he's very new. I think he was introduced by Scott Snyder in his newest run. He's only 7 or 8 years old. It might have been right before Scott Snyder, but
Yeah,
definitely a newer character.
yeah, and I thought that was really cool because I mean I feel like these games are always like a good way to sort of like learn about Batman in general. And this was like I like when I played like Arkham Asylum and Arkham Knight, I sort of knew all those characters. I kind of knew them at least. And this was like first time I was like, oh, they're kind of going into new Batman. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I just thought it was really unique because I think the finale for that is really cool because it's not just a simple boss battle. They have like a really cool lead up to it. Like you find the location of his, I guess it's a beauty parlor or something like that.
I think it was like a doll shop
So yeah, it was
or
something
something. Yeah,
yeah. But
something kind of weird and creepy.
yeah, and it's really cool because like you go through it switches to first person view and you like walk around his shop first. And then you hear the music and as you get closer to him, instead of it just being the music, he's singing along. And
Yeah,
you're like, "Oh
as he's
shit."
like chopping somebody up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just thought that was really cool. I just thought it was like a really just cool like lead into that. And it was again to a character I hadn't seen before. I thought it was kind of mess. I thought again like me not liking this game particularly because it's too violent and gross. He was probably the most violent, gross character they have in the game.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I don't know. I just really like. I wasn't expecting such a large payoff with like a unique setting, unique enemies, a unique way to fight them, and like probably like the best boss battle. Not that the boss battles aren't particularly great in it, but it's one of the
No.
better boss battles I thought anyway.
Yeah, and it was one of the better boss battles just because it felt unique to itself, whereas a lot of the other ones were just, you have the giant tank, go shoot the stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, the traditional Predator missions, that kind of thing. This one was the only one that kind of took on its own feel and had that very specific vibe to it.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, and I just pretty much all the side missions in general. I thought it was kind of they were unique characters. Like I didn't feel like Arkham Asylum and Arkham all the other Arkham games before. I was kind of worried they ran out of side characters to talk about. But actually, my favorite character, like one of my favorite Batman characters, is Man Bat, and it. So I don't know. The mission was okay, but this is another thing I liked about the mission. I thought the introduction to the mission was great.
Where it just kind of like pops up and surprises you.
Yeah, like you're so how the man bat intro occurs, it happens randomly. It happens like when you're just going up any building. I think it can be any building really. And as you're climbing up on top of it, man bat like comes out of nowhere, like screams in your face and flies off. And I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
and it's a good jump scare. And it's also like, oh shit, it's man bat. Like I I didn't think we'd ever see a game with man bat in it. To be
No,
completely
and that
fair.
was kind of the same thing with like Professor Pig, Manback, Hush comes up.
Yeah.
Like you said, they use a lot of more of the newer minor characters that aren't necessarily, Joker, Riddler, Catwoman, Clayface, so on and so on. They've gone over every single game so far. They did a good job of mixing it up in this one.
Yeah, they're not well known, but they're also not lame. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't know. Hush was probably I think I like these just because I thought they were unique. I felt like these side missions felt more unique, or at least the finales to these side missions felt more unique than other stuff I'd seen in Arkham before. How'd you feel about the Hush mission? I like that. There's it's not nothing to it really, but
yeah. I say that one's only maybe 10 minutes long. It's just I think it was just hey, Lucius Fox is missing. Come to the office, see if you can find him, and
yeah.
then in walks Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and yeah, you play as Bruce Wayne, and like they got me. They got me with it. I thought I was playing as Bruce Wayne. I didn't expect Hush at all.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a really good kind of switch character moment where you're like, oh yeah, da da da, and then all of a sudden Batman pops, and you're like, wait, what? Oh shit.
Yeah, and they give kind of a cool hint to it too, because when you sit down at the computer desk, his like login doesn't work,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Or it
that's
was like I think it was a retinal scan.
yeah, and that's when I was like, that's weird, and I don't know, they just completely got me with that. And then like I think he like pulls a gun or something, like what the hell is going on, or he beats up
Yeah.
Lucius or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that one was really well done just because of kind of the weird aspect to it.
mm,
But the other ones, there were a lot of collectible stuff in this. I didn't really do any of that stuff, and I'm assuming. I know you said you started going through one, you saw Deathstroke, but I
yeah,
just kind of assumed after you got to the end, one of those characters popped up and went, "Oh no, you blew up all my tanks."
it's exactly like that. That's the one with like the landmine thing, and it's dumb. It's not. It's okay. I mean, it's neat that it's Deathstroke, but it's like it's just more tank stuff. Riddler one was actually kind of fun. They actually had some like pretty unique puzzles in it.
Yeah, there were a couple. My issue with where I stopped with it is they kept using the car. I was so sick of the
Oh
car
yeah,
by the end of that game, and I only made it through I think the first six. But those six, it was almost every other one was do something with the car.
yeah. That's true. Okay, that is true. I kind of forgot about that because like the Riddler ones are kind of broken down, and like you need to do 6 car missions, and then you actually do a cool puzzle one thing, and you do like 6 car missions,
Yep.
or you go back and forth between doing the puzzles and the car missions. And the puzzle
Yeah.
ones are actually with Catwoman are really fun and really well
Really
done.
good. Yeah.
I think the problem with the car in general was not that the car was itself it's bad or the tank was bad. In fact, I think they were really cool. They were just really overdone.
Yeah, that's something that I feel like they tried so hard to force into this game that had they just left it as a side piece and you used it every now and then would have been fantastic. But
Yeah.
I mean, especially towards the end of the game, it's every other mission is a tank mission.
Yeah, and like they basically like they make sort of a story decision where it's like, oh, you need to be in the tank for like a half hour. It's a long time you're in the tank for
Yeah,
like near the end. I think that was just the problem. Was just that was it. It was nothing. Not like the tank. I thought was fine. I thought it was fine in context of the game. Um,
yeah, it just was used too much.
hmm
So a couple other things, kind of getting into more of the main story here. You can play as a lot of the side characters kind of in and out throughout this game. So at a
hmm
couple of points, you team up with Robin, you team up with Nightwing, you team up with Catwoman, and you can actually switch between Batman and those characters back and forth a few times, which is really a kind of a cool dynamic as opposed to just making it a straight your Batman, the AI is playing as whoever. But anyway, I like how it trades off back and forth as opposed to just making one the AI and you always have to play with Batman as that partner.
hmm
And they're pretty much the same. Nobody does anything too different. They move, I think, slightly quicker. Like Catwoman felt quicker. But for the most part, they all kind of play the same.
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of cool. I thought they were cool story wise. It's like because I wasn't really expecting it at all.
No, not at all.
So like when it swapped it, I think they had mentioned they had mentioned that like it was like one of those like Arkham Knight videos, like pre-release videos. I just didn't pay attention to because I think they might have revealed it, but I thought it was really cool. It felt really fluid. I felt it was kind of like underused though because you only use it for like fight sequences, like pretty standard. There's this many
Yeah.
enemies in a room you need to fight. But I don't know. It felt really cool, and I also like that it kind of made you a little bit overpowered with like the team attack moves.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And it made things feel easier, which is good because I feel like in that situation, it should. If you've got
Yeah,
all of a sudden you doubled the amount of superheroes you have, it should be half as difficult, which from a gameplay perspective, I don't think makes sense. But in context of what's going on, I think it really works.
I really liked it. It's kind of I thought it was really surprising too. I was like, oh shit, I'm Nightwing. Oh shit, I'm Robin. Oh shit, I'm Catwoman.
Yeah, along with that line, there is one scene in this game, and it's right when you realize that Batman has Joker junk in him, um, which sounds really dirty, but it's not really that dirty. But anyway, when you find out the Joker's kind of infected Batman, and you and Tim Drake are standing there, and he's going, "Oh, well, you need to get in the cell,"
I
and
love that.
in my mind, I'm going, yes, I'm going to get to play as Drake for the rest of this game. I'm going to get to play as Tim Drake for the rest of this game. Like one of my all-time favorite comic runs, um, not all-time favorite, but a really good comic run that I got really into. I don't know why, was the Red Robin run. He had like a 28 issue, like limited thing,
Hmm.
maybe 10 years ago, and I loved it. So like, I was like, oh yes, I'm going to play as Red Robin. It's Tim Drake. Like that's cool. Even if it's just like 2 missions, and then it's like, nope, Batman's going to lock you in the cell instead.
Okay, you know what's funny? We'll probably get to that later, but I love that sequence, but I can understand your frustration with that.
It was
um,
just one of those things where it's like, oh, because they just let you play as him, like the combo thing, and then they're like, oh, now Batman's getting in the cell, and you just played as Robin. Now you're gonna get to play as Robin for nope.
no, I can understand. I can understand your frustration. That scene is pretty cool. There are, I guess we'll probably get into this later. But there's like story wise, you play some characters. And we'll talk about the ending, like the ending of the character you play as for like the entire ending. But I also like there's a part where you play as Jim Gordon, like, um, that's right after the Ace chemical sequence, and like Joker's like, "Oh, glad to see me," and he shoots him, and it's like a few days before, and you're Gordon, and then you walked off like the helicopter, and you go down into like Batman's lair. That's the first time you see the Joker, the people with infected with the Joker stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. I just like that you kept. I was always like constantly surprised like of who I was going to play as next. I just like wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was pretty cool.
yeah. The Jim Gordon thing really came out of nowhere, and I really liked that one. But that Joker hallucination scene, I about threw the controller down, and I think you were actually still sitting next to me when that happened because I borrowed this from you and I played the first little bit with you.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I was so pissed when I saw the Joker show
So
up.
so are we talking about Joker now? Is this are we just
Yeah, I'm so pissed the freaking Joker showed up. And oh my gosh, because they advertise it's like crazy. The Joker's dead. The Joker's not in this one. There's no Joker in this one. It's Joker
no. They
free.
very cleverly said the Joker's dead.
But okay, again, the advertising for it made it sound like there's no Joker in this, which got
Yeah.
me excited because I feel like the Joker is a very easy crutch to lean on when you're making a Batman story because he's such a crazy character that everything else around him just works really well because of how weird he is.
Yeah.
So I was really interested to see what is a Batman game without the Joker going to look like. And then sure enough, an hour in, there he is.
Well, it's like the ones without the stories, the Batman stories without Joker are usually a little bit more subtle and stuff like that, and they're not as like I don't know. This I have so many mixed opinions about the Joker. I'll agree with you on his first reveal. I was like, I was excited. I thought it was cool at first. I'll say why I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool in that sequence because we can talk about that sequence in general. The Ace Chemical thing, I really liked the lead up to it because it's clear the fear gas is starting to work on him slowly. So as you're putting those I don't know, anti-chemical things, whatever they are, the anti-fear gas stuff that just comes out of nowhere.
I think they were like antidotes. Yeah.
Yeah, but like as you're putting them in, they have that sort of countdown, like okay, 100% to 75%. But as you're putting in the last canister, it's like instead of saying it decreased by 25%, it said it increased by 1,000%. Destruction of the
Yeah.
world imminent or something like that. And in my back of my head, I was like, oh shit, like he's getting affected by the fear gas. It's a really subtle thing. He's being affected by the fear gas. And when they showed Joker, I was like, okay, that makes sense for him to have a hallucination for Joker. What I didn't like is that he hung around.
Yeah. And I think had they been, again, like the Batmobile, had they been more subtle about it, I
Yeah,
think it could have worked really well. But he showed up like every 5 or 10 minutes in certain parts of this game.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just, I didn't need the running commentary throughout the whole game from the Joker. The game could have stood on its own without that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, again, it's leaning on a crutch. Like, we can't make a Batman game without the Joker. We just can't do it. We need to have him in here somewhere.
Yeah, but for given the I thought they justified it well in the context of the story. Sort of. Sometimes they didn't. It's like he did get affected with Joker's blood in Arkham City. Like
Yep.
that did happen. And
Yeah.
when he gets hit with fear gas, he sees his darkest fears, which would be him turning over
Becoming
the
the
Joker.
Joker because
Like
the Joker, the parallels between the two and all that kind of stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
so I thought I thought it made sense in that context. I think the story kind of started to revolve around it too much near the end,
Yeah.
um, especially with like the whole final sequence. I guess we could probably I don't know if we can talk about that a little later near the end. I felt that yeah, like it could have been an interesting side aspect of the fear gas, but they made it like the main point at the end, like that the story is him battling Joker internally, and I
Yeah.
didn't like that as the conclusion. Although I will say that the Joker exclusive hallucinations were freaking awesome. I
Like, which ones are you talking about? The
okay.
Jason Todd ones?
No, no, not the Jason. Actually, I didn't like those ones at all. As soon as I said that, I guess I'm wrong. No, I like the Killing Joke one. That was effing
Oh,
awesome.
yep, that was really good.
I thought that was really cool. And then I don't know how to describe the scene other than you're in an airship. You get to this huge battle, and all the guys are knocked out, and they're slowly forming into Jokers, who are like,
Oh yeah, and you have to like, fight like 50 Jokers over and over again, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
just keep
yeah,
pouring in.
and like,
Yeah, that was really cool.
and I thought that was really cool because it reminded me of those sequences, like those. It was like the best fear gas sequences. Like it reminded me of, like the cartoon and stuff like you'd see. Like I would just
Yeah,
never expected them to do something like that well. So I really love those scenes. I just felt like those really kind of like huge scenes were too few and far between, and it was just filled with long like things of Joker giving like one-liners in his head, and I didn't like that too
yeah,
much.
yeah. And like I said, I think had they again been more subtle about it, been more selective in their use of it, like the Batmobile, it would not be a point that bothered me. But
Yeah.
because of the one-liners, because of oh, you just flew over that building, didn't you, bats? Or whatever,
Yeah.
random thing he has to say at random moments, it just gets ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think like every time you pause, like at some points, like he'll just be there sitting.
Yep.
I did like in the story. I think we had the one cool the one of the cool aspects of this. We had talked about going into the game when we were watching trailers and stuff in our earlier podcast. We're like, wow, Batman seems more violent, and like he is, and they justify that with the
The
Joker's
Joker.
influence. I thought that was kind of neat that they were sort of using like the Joker's influence of him to be more violent. Um, so I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Like I said, we played the first little bit of this together, and I think it was maybe
Mhm.
like a half hour, 45 minutes in. I was just like, why is Batman a dick in this game?
Yeah, yeah,
Before that happened,
yeah.
because it's just like, this isn't what Batman's supposed to be like. Batman needs to stop being a dick. And as soon as you get to that Joker part, you're like, okay, I kind of get why Batman's a dick now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't like that Batman's a dick, but I understand why he's a dick.
Yeah, and so I thought that was kind of a cool character. Like, I think that made Batman a little bit more interesting. I don't think it was just straight up he's more violent now. I thought it was like he's slowly losing his mind. Like they're going into the crazy side of Batman, which Batman, I think in the comics, like he is crazy. Like they've made that pretty clear a few times that he's like a crazy person. And I like they
I think
sort
so.
of delve into that in this one.
Yeah. You mentioned the Jason Todd hallucination scene. So this happens, I don't remember when exactly in this game this happens, but it slowly starts to tease the reveal of the Arkham Knight. And then, I don't know about you, but as soon as I saw this scene, I was like, oh, Jason Todd's the Arkham Knight.
I
Great job.
are we talking about the Arkham Knight now? If we're talking about
Yeah,
that, okay.
you can talk about whatever you want.
No, I
You
just
don't need permission.
if we're going to talk because I think I've been really positive up until this point.
Okay, yeah, so Jason Todd.
Okay, Jason Todd being the Arkham Knight sucks. It just sucks.
I
It sucks. It
agree.
sucks. It sucks. It's the entire game had me guessing. Even when they started showing the Jason Todd sequences, because I thought Jason Todd would be the most boring answer. I guess we discussed why Jason Todd is a boring answer. Like Jason Todd is the Red Hood.
Yeah, slash like three other people, depending on
Yeah.
time and place and get Batman continuity. He's come back as like three different people. I think currently he is the Red Hood, but
Mhm.
when Batman died, quote unquote, in the like mid 2000s, he came back to try and be Batman for a while. So Jason Todd is kind of that traditional like resurrected, comes back and fills whatever shoes you need him to fill at the moment character.
Yeah, and okay, all right. I need to go on a small rant. Okay, when they first announced this game, they showed the DLC, and the DLC was for the Red Hood, which I think was their clever way of throwing people off that it couldn't possibly be the Red Hood. And then my thought was like, it better not be it can't possibly be the Red Hood because that's such a boring answer because the Arkham Knight is so similar to the Red Hood, and
Yeah,
this is the Red Hood story, basically retold through Arkham Asylum through the Asylum verse. So it's like okay, if you have Red Hood, you can't have Jason Todd be the Arkham Knight because you can't have him be both characters. That would be stupid. um, um, and then Jason Todd, like they've reiterated quite a few times that Jason Todd does not exist in the Arkham Asylum universe, and he didn't exist until this game.
well, yeah, and a couple things with that. Robin was in Arkham City as Dick Grayson, correct? Or was
No,
Robin Tim Drake
he
still?
was Tim Drake. Yeah,
Okay. In my mind, I couldn't remember. So in my mind, as soon as they even started hinting at it, it's like, or as soon as Robin showed up as Tim Drake, Dick Grayson was there. It's like, okay, you got to have the middle guy. There's a
yeah.
middle guy here that we're completely ignoring. So that kind of keyed me in the first time. I was like, but like you said, that's so boring. That's not, with as much as they build up, like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? They're
Yeah.
not going to be that boring with it. And then as soon as you get to those scenes where the Joker starts, it's the A Death in the Family
Hmm.
book from, I think it was like late 80s, early 90s, where Joker kills Jason Todd. As soon as you start seeing those scenes, it's like, oh God, it's totally Jason Todd. I think I even texted you like, "Are you kidding me? It's Jason Todd."
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because like I knew it was Jason Todd, and like I was in your spot, and I was like, I don't want to tell him it's Jason Todd because it will ruin it. But it's I don't know. I felt like not cheated isn't the right word. Like I kind of was hoping it was like an original character or something, or literally like if you look at like any other thing that you've read online about who like before Arkham Knight was like finally revealed, like when people were trying to guess who it was, like literally every answer was more interesting than it was Jason
Yeah.
Todd.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I felt like there's suddenly like, oh, Jason Todd exists in this universe all of a sudden. Like if they had hinted it, I sort of agree that they're kind of missing a guy in the Arkham Asylum ones. But I think in this story, he gets killed by Joker in Arkham Asylum, in an abandoned part of Arkham Asylum. I think is the torture scene. Like it's not in
Okay.
Siberia or whatever it was in the original
Yeah,
story.
and like the
He actually,
winter.
yeah,
Yeah.
he actually tortures him in Arkham Asylum, but there's no hints of that in the previous games. Like this wasn't all built up to be Jason Todd at like the culmination of this trilogy wasn't that.
See, and I think that's a good point because I think had they alluded to Jason Todd earlier, like in Arkham Asylum, if you know what, in that case, Jason Todd's Robin, you see Jason Todd die towards the end or something. Arkham City, you come in, you've got Dick Grayson's now become Nightwing, or Dick Grayson's still Nightwing. Tim Drake's become Robin. You're going, okay, Batman's moved on from that, and now you
Yeah.
get to this. It has a much bigger hit, but it's just like out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, this guy is a person now.
Yeah, and if you're and the thing is like this whole game is like a fan is like a fan note to like Batman fans, and everybody knows like Jason Todd is the Red Hood. Like that's like a known thing. So
Yep.
it doesn't work for comic book fans, and then it doesn't work for people who don't know who Jason Todd is.
Yeah, because as soon as that, because you get I mean, you see the Joker beating the shit out of Jason Todd maybe 2 or 3 hours before you actually finally get the reveal.
Yeah, they do
But
a
it's
few
still
of those
like, oh,
sequences. Yeah.
he beat up. Oh, there was another Robin. That's okay, great. And I don't even know if they mention the name Jason Todd in there. If they do,
They yeah they
it's.
do.
I mean, if you don't know who it is, it'd be a throwaway moment because you're just hearing a name that you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can't. I don't think you can introduce Jason Todd as that guy who got beat up by the Joker. Like that's all. Like in the Arkhamverse, like that's all Jason Todd has done. Is he got killed by the Joker. Like if we liked Jason Todd at first, although to be fair, I really like that Under the Red Hood the movie and does the same thing. Like they just show Jason Todd and then they kill him. Going back to where I was like, they can't possibly have the Arkham Knight and the Red Hood in the same game. And like when they actually do the reveal of the Arkham Knight, like his bat ear things break off and then his helmet turns red and then you fight the Red Hood.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's no, you no.
Stop
No.
it. Stop
No.
it.
And the fight's not even very good. It's just
It's just a Predator mission where there's one guy that you kind of have to hide behind something for 2 seconds, and
yeah.
yeah, that was the most disappointing part of this game to me. Was that's the big reveal that I was so excited for.
Yeah, and like it's not even like I was reading some comments online and they're like and I guess one of the things that somebody point out and it's like I totally agree with it was like if you're fighting the Red Hood as Batman, it should be you're fighting Batman. You know what I mean?
Essentially, yes.
And in this one, you're fighting like,
A sniper.
yeah, it's not even. It's like he's like basically just a sentry turret. Like that's all he is. Like he sees you and then he
Yeah.
shoots you, and that's. And it's like the most. It's not a good badass battle. It's not a good reveal. And how did you feel about the Arkham Knight before that though? Like, did you like him in the story or?
Um, I could never really get a good read on how I felt about him, just because as soon as I thought it was Jason Todd, I was irritated, and before that, I don't know. I feel like it was just one of those one-note villains where it's just like, oh, I know you, Batman, and now I want revenge.
Yeah.
It was very one-note as opposed to Scarecrow, who really is one of the main villains in this.
Yeah, I like Scarecrow a lot in this one actually.
And I think he's much more interesting as a villain. The Arkham Knight, again, just seemed like every time you looked for his motivation, it was just, oh, I'm going to kill the Batman. Why? Because I knew you once, and I don't like you anymore. Which again, being Jason Todd, getting the killing thing makes more sense. And I feel like, again, that part would have had more weight if there was some alluding to Jason Todd in prior games.
But you know the part actually the big part they're actually missing in the Red Hood that makes the Red Hood interesting is that the Red Hood is a vigilante. Like Arkham Knight in this is not a vigilante. He's just a guy who wants to kill Batman. But if you think about
Yeah.
like the Red Hood goes out and like he does Batman stuff, but he kills people. Like he kills drug dealers and stuff.
Mhm.
He makes deals with drug dealers and stuff like that. Like that's a really interesting aspect of the Red Hood. Like he's still a good guy, but he does bad things. While this guy is just like just a non. He just wants to kill Batman, and that's his whole story.
Yeah, that's all of it. So I don't know. I don't think it ruins the game, but it definitely just takes it down a peg in my book, just because it it's so just generic comic book storyline
Yeah.
when you want something more. The one moment that did surprise me, I was a little irritated by, and then of course it turned out to be fake too, is when they killed Oracle.
I like that
I would.
sequence.
It was a great sequence, but in my mind I was just like, why are you killing Oracle? Like she didn't do anything.
No, I like that part a lot because when they kill Oracle, I was like, you know what? This is the Asylum verse. All bets are off. You know what I mean? Like in Arkham
Yeah,
City, they killed Joker. It's like, oh crap, they killed Joker. All bets are off. It's like, okay, they killed Oracle. It's like, oh my god, I just realized they could kill anybody. Like this is the last game. They could do whatever they want. They could just start killing
yeah,
everybody left and
absolutely.
right.
And I think that raised hopes for who the Arkham Knight was going to be.
Yeah, yeah, no,
If you're gonna go
I'll
crazy
agree.
enough that
I'll
you're
agree.
gonna kill Joker and you're gonna kill Oracle, and then you go, oh, Jason Todd's Arkham Knight. You could have
Yeah,
gone so much crazier where that's, a different one of the Bat family members, or it's a villain that's more of a minor villain that's just kind of stepped up and really gone crazy.
yeah,
And again, just that Oracle dying, just kind of completely going like, okay, we're gonna do whatever the hell we want right now.
yeah.
And then it's like, oh, but you went with Jason Todd, really?
Yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, and then they don't go crazy. And then especially at the end when like, oh, she didn't really die. That was just a completely random like fear hallucination.
Yep.
Which didn't make any sense because all the like illusions have context like given them prior to like, you start hallucinating, but that one doesn't. Like it's it's it doesn't make sense that it was a hallucination because there's nothing leading up to it to the point where it would make sense he would hallucinate that she got shot. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make sense you can just wish that away as a fear hallucination because it doesn't make sense that he would be hallucinating that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, I always hate they died, but they didn't. I just think it
Yeah.
completely takes all of the punch and emotion out of a story by just, because as soon as you do that, you lose all faith from your audience because they're just like, oh, yeah, they died. Right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it was such a dumb thing at the end. It's like, "Oh, Gordon was actually betrayed you, but no he didn't because he's Gordon." It's like
Yeah. Oh, yeah, when he shoots Batman, you're like, oh, he shot. And it's like, wait a minute. But the game doesn't even give you enough time to really think that through just because it's what he shoots Batman and then within 2 seconds he's saving Oracle and the whole thing's done. I
yeah.
did like the way they played Jim Gordon against Batman in a couple scenes after Oracle dies when he kind of figures out who she was
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
that it's kind of Bruce's fault essentially for it. I did like that part a lot. That was very cool.
Yeah, I like those scenes as well. That's what I'm saying. Like I liked it made sense in the story that Oracle had been killed. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I think they
um,
should have just stuck with it.
yeah, and they should have stuck with it. And I think it would have been cooler, and it would have been more of that like definitive. This is the end of the Arkham Knight sort of thing.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you didn't even we didn't even write this one because I think you forgot about it. But Poison Ivy gets killed too.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Her death is kind of
Her
like
character kind of
eh,
irritated me this.
yeah. It's just like okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Sorry to hear that, Poison Ivy.
yeah. And I know
Maybe
more
next
about
time.
Poison Ivy than I do Oracle. I don't know why I didn't care when Poison Ivy died.
Because Poison Ivy's a villain.
Uh, Even so, I think it was just like I think they just kind of led up to it. It's like, oh, this is great. Like she was sick like the entire game. She's like, oh, this was so
Oh
much hard
yeah,
work. Oh, this is so much
and
hard work. And
the giant ancient plant was draining her of life or whatever.
yeah, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then she died. I was like, well, I guess she did.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Remember when Oracle died though? That was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think the game kind of sets you up for some like expecting some really cool things, and then they just don't do that.
Yeah,
Although they did do a really cool. Do you want to start talking about the ending?
sure.
Um,
I just like how you ask permission to talk about
well, I don't know.
things.
I don't know when we're moving on to certain subjects or whatever. So the ending is Batman gets captured, and then they take off his mask, and then the world finds out he's Bruce.
Yeah,
That was awesome. I thought that
that
was
was really
great.
cool because that's something that I feel like is never really explored that often. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not. I don't think either one of us could sit here and say like, "Oh, I know all the Batman comics," but to my limited knowledge, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and that's one of those things like this is the Arkhamverse. We do what we want,
Yeah,
and I thought that was really. I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is definitely like the end of the games. Like they're like it's actually a finale. Like okay, the world knows Bruce is Batman. That's super. That's I don't know. I thought that was actually one of my favorite moments of the game because I really wasn't. It was just another. I like the surprises that this game had. I
yeah,
don't like when they just did what was expected of them.
yeah. And I think that that's one of those moments where they set it up so many times in other media that
hmm
it's really easy to play off. Because how many times has Batman been captured and about to get his mask taken off when Nightwing flies in
Oh, and
or
saves the day.
Gordon and
Yeah.
the police show up? But it actually happens, and just
hmm
seeing the like Vicky Vale and all the other characters kind of respond to this, and even I don't remember if it's Robin or Nightwing is with you in the scene there,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and just
Oh,
even
it's
seeing their reaction to
because
it.
it's like it's I think it's Gordon like saying don't do it, and then he like
Yeah,
submits, and like you're like, because you never see Batman submit either. Like he never
yeah.
says no, but he submits, and oof, that was
Well, in that
awesome.
whole scene that follows one of the cooler hallucinations where you actually play as Joker and Joker's
Yeah,
nightmare.
how did you like that? How did you because you
I
didn't like the
love
Joker,
that.
but did you like that scene? Yeah.
No, I loved that. I
Okay.
wish that was just like a DLC thing. It's like here would have been Joker's nightmare because
Yeah.
I didn't like the Joker, but that whole piece was awesome. Just with how terrified he is of actually dying,
hmm
how Batman really has affected his like psyche. It's very very cool.
Yeah, I thought it was neat because I think it's the first time, at least in the Arkham games, they make Batman seem fucking terrifying.
Yeah, yep. But yeah, so at the end of the game, you find out it's him, and then you go into Nightfall, and Nightfall is essentially Batman deciding, well, time to give this shit up, and basically just blows everything up and calls it a day.
Yeah, again, that's cool. It's Batman. It's Batman doing Batman stuff. It's well, it's no,
And
it's the Asylum verse. Like they're separating themselves.
yeah, and again, it's a finality that you don't normally get from Batman stories.
True.
Even I just recently like rewatched the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, and even that one where it's got that Batman's not really Batman anymore, but then you're like, what? That didn't tell me what it was. It's just Batman sitting at a coffee table in Italy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this had a very distinctive like Wayne Manor's gone. Everybody knows it's him. He blew everything up.
hmm
We're done.
And I thought that was like a great way. It's like that is the end of Arkham Asylum. I was like, great, that's cool. And and
No
that
Arkham 5 or 4 or whichever way you want to count.
yeah. Do you want to talk about the? Let's talk about the 100% thing though. No, it's not. Psych. It's not the end. Ha ha
Yeah, I
ha.
didn't really care for that. It's whatever. It's basically outside the theater where Batman's parents get shot and somebody starts to get mugged, and then you see like the Batman esque figure on top of a building and he swoops down.
He swoops down, but he swoops down, and there's like clearly using fear gas as he swoops down. So it's like a fear Batman vigilante guy. I thought it was kind of interesting, but I was kind of like I was just done with Arkham after finishing that game. I was like, okay, I'm good with never playing another Arkham game ever again.
Yeah, and I think again, I like the finality of everything's done. Everybody knows it's blown up. You
hmm
can explore how later some copycats try and take up the mantle or so and so tries to become Batman, but your story's done.
Yeah,
Leave it with the manor blowing up and the cool Batman logo coming out of the flames, and we'll call it a day.
yeah, yeah. So how overall, like, because we didn't really talk about this because I just did my review, and I don't even know if we ever talked about you actually playing Batman. How'd you feel about it? Like at the end of everything, gameplay wise, everything. What was your like final thoughts on it?
I really liked it. I think the Joker thing was overdone. Basically, to sum it up, this is a great game that has a couple overused mechanics. The Joker's overused, the Batmobile's
hmm
overused. If you trim those down, I think this would have been a fantastic game.
But you didn't have like an
And
overall
it's
negative opinion of it. You
oh
liked
no
it.
no, I have a very positive opinion of this game. No,
hmm
again, this would be like a it's really really great. It could have been even better.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I think the parts that are the worst are like not even gameplay related. Like the game related, it's the story. And
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it before that this is like Arkham Combat perfected, and it
yeah,
is. The actual where your Batman moments are great.
Hmm.
The Batmobile is fine, it's just overused. And again, some of the story things do get a little irritating, but none of them are to the point where makes you want to like throw this game away.
No, because even as annoying the story was, it's still probably the best Arkham story.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't even think I could repeat Arkham Cities.
They put all the
No.
prisoners in a place, and then Batman came in.
And then it's Ra's al Ghul, and I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought the reveals in this one were better. I just think that honestly, I probably would have been a lot happier if it wasn't Jason Todd.
yeah, that takes a big hit on it in my book.
Hmm.
Anyway, great game. We might do this again with other games, but we thought there's enough stuff in here to talk about spoiler wise that we were both interested in, so we figured we'd do this. Of course, there's a more full-ish episode that'll be up this week as well, so look for that. But you can follow us on Twitter at darksliders_pod or listen to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. Thanks for listening.
Bye.